Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Reference letters. What is a reference letter? Many subscribers have asked me to upload this video, and this is going to be a very crucial video if you have received your ITA, if you are about to receive your ITA, or if you are just thinking about starting your Canadian immigration process, because reference letter is something that you need to get it right. And if you get it wrong, then based on your reference letter, your application can be rejected, because obviously 1 year of work experience is mandatory for express entry. And for proving that work experience, reference letter is a mandatory document. Okay, rest of the documents are only supporting documents. But when you want to prove your work experience, a reference letter from your employer on their official letterhead, that is the basic requirement. Okay, so let's get that straight. Okay, in this video, I will be sharing 13 tips, or you can call them steps, or you can call them parts, sections of your reference letter. Okay, so make sure you watch this video till the very end, because all the 13 steps or the tips are going to be important for your reference letter when you will be applying for Canadian immigration, when you will be applying for the permanent residency, EAPR. Okay, because for express entry, obviously you're going to submit your application electronically. So let's start with the things. I'm going to leave my reference letter here. Okay, and it's going to stay here in all of the videos so that you guys can understand what's written here. Okay, so first of all, you need to get a JD from your company. Now every big company, they would have a job description for your job. Okay, whichever job you're working on. If you're working as a software engineer, your company would have a job description for a software engineer, and you need to get that copy. Okay, and that copy is also a supportive document for your for proving your work experience, because that is on the official company website as well sometimes, that this is the job description of this job position. So that job description is going to play a vital role as well. But sometimes companies do not disclose their JD. Okay, and in that case, what you can do is you can also add your job ad for which you applied and for which you got your job, because on that job ad there will be some duties and responsibilities shared on that. So you can also include that as your supporting document. So now, why getting a JD from your employer is very crucial, because you can think about yourself as I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. There could be so many responsibilities on you, but your actual job description in the company might be very specific and might be very particular. So your job description actually needs to match with the knock code that you have chosen, unless your application is going to be rejected straight away, that your duties that you have listed in your reference letter, they do not match with the reference letter. Your application will be rejected straight away. Okay, so get a JD from your employer. Number 2, match that JD with your knock code. So the golden rule here is that your reference letter, the job duties that are mentioned on your reference letter, they should match 75% with the knock code that is chosen by you for your primary knock. Okay, and number 3 step is, if there are any tweaks required, for example, if you want to use a synonym for a word, if you want to use some particular word that will best match your job duties, then you can request your HR to include that word in your reference letter, or you can get your head of department, your departmental head can also request the HR manager to include that particular word, so that your reference letter will look better and will look more professional. Because obviously some job descriptions are outdated. For example, if my company is using CRM software for managing their customers, but the job description was outdated, it is still using SAP. So if that is the case, then obviously you can use the synonyms, or you can use the updated information and get that fixed by your HR department or by your employer. And the number 4 step I just mentioned was that your job duties must match 75% with the chosen knock code. Now, some people say that it could be 60%, 70%, 80%, but a better average would be 75%. Okay. Number 5 thing that I want to share with you guys is that always get your reference letter on the official letterhead. Okay, and make sure when you're submitting your supporting documents, for example, you're submitting your promotion letter, you're submitting your appointment letter, all those letters, the official letters, must be on the same letterhead of the company, because the purpose is that the reference letter should be on a official letterhead which is continuously used by your company. Even for some other employees who are applying for Canadian immigration, those employees should have the same letterhead format as well. So this is why getting the official letterhead is very important. Number 7 is you need to, now this is a tip that I have for you, because sometimes your employer does not sign the reference letter, and there will be a sales personnel manager, for example, in your HR, who is going to be responsible for signing all these experience letters in your company. Okay, there could be some other person than the owner of your company. So what you do is you attach the visiting card of that person who signed your reference letter, your official reference letter. You need to include the visiting card of that person. That will actually help the immigration agents. If they want to verify your work experience, they would call that person and simply ask them that is it a genuine reference letter. So like attaching the visiting card of the person who signed your document is a very crucial step in my opinion. Number 8 thing is something that I already shared, that all the letters that you have included as your supporting documents, your Provident Fund letter, your EOBI letter, whichever letter you have included, they should all be on the same letterhead that your company normally uses. Okay, and if the standard letterhead does not include the company website, then you need to mention it as a supporting document that this is the company website. Okay, because mentioning the company website is important. Okay, that brings me to number 9 tip that I want to share with you guys, is that you need to include annual salary, tax deductions, and other benefits. If your company is paying you other benefits, if it is applicable, then you need to mention them in your reference letter. Most of the cases, your annual salary will include other benefits. So you can say that your employer will say that this employee has been working full-time in my company and we paid them this much salary annually, including all other benefits. So if that's the line mentioned on your reference letter, then you're good to go. Okay, and another thing that I just talked about was tax deductions. Some companies, most companies, they deduct taxes at source and they submit those taxes automatically to government. Okay, and some companies, they will give you full salary and you will be paying taxes to the government by yourself. Okay, so whichever is the case, you need to get it mentioned on your reference letter. For example, my company, you would be able to see it right here. My company says that we deduct taxes at source and we submit it to government officials on the behalf of the employee. Okay, so get that mentioned. Number 10 is you need to include your time of work, like whether you were a part-time worker, whether you were a full-time worker. And if you were a full-time worker, your hours that you have worked in a week should prove that you're a full-time worker, because minimum 30 hours are required to become eligible for being a full-time worker. So most of the subcontinent companies, they make you work for 45 hours, 40 hours a week. So whichever is true to your case, your employer will mention that this person worked 40 hours in a week. Okay, and also the job duration, that the starting date of employment was this, and the employee worked until that date, or the employee is currently working in our company. So that is another important factor that you need to mention. And also holidays. If you went on holidays, if you had leaves, long leaves, then that needs to be mentioned on your reference letter as well, because that will be deducted from your paid work experience, right? So number 11 thing that I want to mention is your reference letter should have your job title, your department's name, if you're working in retail, if you're working in wholesale, if you're working in IT, then your department name should be mentioned there, and the detailed duties mentioned on your job description should be listed here as well. Okay, so mentioning your job duties, this is the most essential part of your reference letter. If your reference letter does not have the complete detail of your duties, then it's not going to work for you. And I'm not saying that if the NOC code had 5 duties, then your reference letter should also have 5 duties. No, if your job description has 10 duties, then mention all those 10 duties in your reference letter. Okay, and obviously it is going to be only matching with the 4, 3 or 5 duties that are mentioned on your knock code. And it is also crucial to understand that only job duties matching is not enough. The main line, the main paragraph that is mentioned on your knock code, you would be able to see that on the Canadian website. The main the main headline paragraph should match 100% by your actual work experience. Okay, then your knock code will be valid. Okay, and the number 12 thing that I want to mention is that your reference letter must include the date it was issued to you. Okay, and company website, email address, company name, and one line company introduction. If you worked in a small company that nobody knows about, then there should be a one-line company introduction that this company is providing software solutions to B2B clients, for example. Okay, and if you worked in a big company that everybody knows about, then including a company introduction is not mandatory step. Number 13, the last thing that I want to mention in this video is make sure your LinkedIn profile, it also says the same things as mentioned on your reference letter, because sometimes what happens is your employer issues you reference letter after completing your probationary period, because some companies have this policy. Okay, so if your LinkedIn profile says that you started this job 3 months ago, while your reference letter says that no, you started this job after 3 weeks, after you became full-time employee, before you were on probationary period. So like, this is just an example. Your LinkedIn profile should match with what's written on your reference letter. Okay, so I tried to keep this short, concise, and summarized it, all the things that are required for reference letter. If the things I mentioned in this video, if you are not able to get them, then you can comment below, and I would chart out all the questions, and I will make another video to answer those questions about the problems that you might face in getting a reference letter. And make sure that your HR head or the person responsible in your HR department for signing these letters should write your letter, and he should be or she should be signing your letter as well. Okay, and if you don't have an HR department, then your employer, your owner, or your head of department can also give you a reference letter. But if your company has an HR department, then the most preferable thing to do is get this official letterhead from your HR, because they are responsible for giving you experience letters to all the employees. Okay, so you cannot make an exception. Go to your HR department, request them nicely, give them reference of your boss. Okay, if your boss will say that okay, give him or her the reference letter as required, then your HR will also comply. And another bonus tip that I want to share with you guys is that when the time comes, when your ITA comes and you need your reference letter right now, then don't try to hide it from your boss. I mean, the minute I received my notification of interest from Ontario at night, in the morning, I called my boss. I told him that I have received a notification of interest from a province of Canada, and I have been applying. I've been trying to apply for Canada, and now is my time. So I will be needing some documents, but my process is going to take somewhere between 1.5 years to 2 years until I plan to land in Canada. Okay, so until that time, I'm going to work with you, but after that, it will be a goodbye from my side. So like, I was truthful to my boss. He accepted it. He said, okay, you are doing this for your personal growth, so it is okay. And he was very actually friendly about it. And he actually called the HR manager to issue me the reference letter that as per my request. Okay, so this is the thing. And another thing, your reference letter could have to whom it may concern. But if you will be seeing my reference letter, I actually mentioned it that to IRCC. Okay, and in the subject, I also wrote that reference letter for the purpose of Canadian immigration. Okay, so you can skip that and mention to whom it may concern as well. It is no problem. But I went with this reference letter, and it is selected from Ontario, and I received a nomination based on that, and now I have an ITA. That's why I'm finally making this video, because this is a proven reference letter, and I don't want you to copy anything. That's why I have hidden the job duties, because if 50 people, 60 people will be copying these job duties for their no code of 60601, then it will raise eyebrows and we don't want to do that. So please keep it genuine. Please keep it as per your company format. That's the most important thing. If your company does not issue some things, for example, my employer said that we don't mention how many hours you worked in a week. Okay, so I requested him that please mention it, because it is the IRCC requirement. So upon my request, he actually managed to write that he worked 40 hours in a week. So these are some things that you can do on humanitarian grounds or personal grounds, or how good your personal relationship is within the company. Okay, so with these words, this is Iftikhar, hoping you guys get your reference letter smoothly and professionally, and just keep it genuine, keep it truthful. This is my utmost request to you guys.